Hi guys, Paul Ballard here from Beyond the Badge, and as promised, we've got this training for you today called the 3S Triangle of Transformational Change. Now, you've probably had trainings before where the trainer is like, bah, 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 and you're sitting there thinking, get on with it, man, let's give me this good stuff. So I'm going to do just that. So just let me share screen because I've created a slide deck for you on this one instead of just talking to camera. So right now, the system's working. You should be able to see a blue slide with a picture of me somewhere up in the corner. So the 3S pyramid of transformational change. And actually, by the time it got to the end of making this, I realized that if you actually use it, you could get a breakthrough. So I've talked to one or two of you, about more than that now, one-to-one, and I know exactly where you're at and how that feels, because remember, I've been there. So if you take what I share with you today on board, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to get a breakthrough as well as the transformational change. So first of all, let's give this some context. As you know, Beyond the Badge is fairly new. I think I launched it in April this year, sometime around then, because I became aware of what you guys are coping with and dealing with. And having been away from policing for 22 years, literally traveling the world and working with big companies and the executives within those companies, I built quite a set of hefty skills that I was applying to them when they were burnt out and falling apart and hitting the glass ceiling and couldn't break through. But then when I realized that what happened to me 2 decades ago wasn't just me because I was long-term sick, it's still going on. And if anything, it's even worse. I couldn't ignore it. I just couldn't continue with my back to my former colleagues, knowing that I was in a position to help out. So here I am. Beyond the Badge was launched. My mission is to educate, motivate, and hopefully inspire police officers like you who are facing retirement or facing reluctant resignation to overcome the crushing uncertainty and the doubts and the fears of leaving the police service, and to work together with you to either not just get a job, not just get any old job, but to get a job that you love to do, or even better, to start a business that's a passion, something that you can monetize. So it's a part of yourself that you're using to have an impact with your own customers and clients. And the other thing is to do that with a renewed sense of courage and confidence and clarity, and even a plan, but if not a plan, at least a solid vision for what you want to achieve. Now, here's the thing that I think is very different. I can help you to do that, even if policing is all you've ever known, and even if you have no qualifications in anything else. Now, from where you are right now, you might be thinking, well, that's a bit of hyperbole, and I don't really believe it. Well, I can tell you it works, and I can tell you it's proven, because I was my first client. And I was my first client 22 years ago. And since then, I've had 2 decades of additional experience and training and mentoring and coaching and seminars and books in the hundreds, if not the thousands, on psychology, human needs psychology, the effects of change, change management, and the list goes on. So I'm fairly confident that what I have locked up in here, which I'm gradually feeding out into the group and a number of other places online, is enough to get you to make this step with a lot more confidence and clarity than you might do otherwise. Oh, by the way, if you don't know the story of my demise from the police service, there was no glory in it whatsoever. In fact, my final day at the police service was picking up the contents of a desk, quite a lot of paperwork and files, and throwing them at an inspector. Now, there were times when I thought that was funny, but unfortunately, it was an inspector that I really respected, not one of the ones that was the cause of some of the problems. So, but that was the way it happened. But anyway, I'm not going to waste time on it in this training. If you want to know more about it, I'll give you the link at the end. Next, I wrote it all out on the website for you to have a look at. Anyway, we'll crack on with this. So the pyramid of transformational breakthrough change is what we're talking about. Now, I have this model. I've made it into a triangle as a visual. Full disclosure, the 3S part of this came from one of my mentors that I spent many, many years studying with, being mentored by and coached by. However, the model that I'm using is mine. I changed it because I think this is better. And the stories and the evidence and the examples I'm going to give you are also mine as well. But I just wanted to be open and transparent that the 3S part came from somebody else. And the other thing to mention is that for this training, I can just about scratch the surface, because once we get down to the second and the third elements, the middle and the bottom element, in the Warrior of Change coaching program, that's about a third of the whole of the 8 weeks. And if it was a 3-day seminar that I would be running, the bottom part alone is 1 whole day. So obviously I can't do that online. All I can do is hopefully get you to open your mind a little bit to more possibilities and more options that you may have. So at the top, we have what is the least important of all 3. I'm going to do this in reverse order, start at the top and work the way down. Now, because it's the least important doesn't mean to say it's not important at all. It is. And you can have some great results just by doing the top portion of this. But what I can promise you is that if you actually adopt all 3 and apply them in sequence, you can become unstoppable. There is nothing you can imagine doing that you wouldn't be able to do. I'm not saying it will be easy or that it will just fall onto your lap. You'll still have to work for it, but you'll be better equipped for it. And you'll have not only the resources to do it, you'll have the most important element of all, which is the resourcefulness from the inside to drive you through and to get to the result that you want to do. Now, the top tiny pyramid at the top of this model, above the wavy line, just like the iceberg, that's the visible part. That's what people can see. That's the external to yourself. And this is the stuff that most people, as well-meaning as they are, don't get me wrong, people mean well, they support police officers and they really want to help you, but they're only talking about this top part and completely disregarding the importance of the 2 elements below. And I can't sit by and watch that happen. So let me start to explain it in a bit more detail. So the top part is the external measures, those things that you will do that's visible and noticeable by people outside of yourself. The second 2 elements that you can see on the slide are all internal. So first of all, let's look at the first one, because it's important. Please remember, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying completely ignore all the other people. No, listen to them, but also keep in mind the other stuff as well. And then you'll decide for yourself how you want to approach it. So the top section of this model is the strategy part. It's the first S, the strategy. So what's a strategy? A strategy is something that if you do something in that particular way, you should get the same results every time for everyone that uses the strategy. In theory, that's what a strategy should be. Now, in all of my work, I use the strategies that I personally accidentally stumbled into when I was in a mess and broken, to becoming a global consultant within about 18 months. And then on top of all of those strategies are the ones that I've learned from other people and the things that I've learned over the 2 decades as well. So not everything in this training, of course, but over time, I'll be feeding you some of this stuff so that you can get the benefit of it before you actually leave, hopefully. Now, the problem with strategies, as good as they are, and even though they offer us a lot of consistency to get pretty much guaranteed results, I know they don't always work. And that bothers me. If it's been written out for you and it's been given to you, why isn't it working? And it's nothing to do with the strategy. And my evidence for this is the University of YouTube. Let's imagine, for example, that I hadn't been doing learning and development and personal development and business management and all that other stuff. Forget that. Imagine I've spent 2 decades learning how to make the world's most perfect chocolate cake. And if I want to teach you how to make that chocolate cake yourself, I have to write down my strategy. And in this world, it's called a recipe. Now, I can put that onto YouTube and you can copy it and you can set about making the world's best chocolate cake, in theory, right? There's no reason why you shouldn't. But do people follow the strategy? do people even bother with the strategy? This example explains that clearly we don't. Now, this, I don't even know this about me, if you've seen it online somewhere, but one of the businesses that I've run, I've had about 4 businesses since I left the police force, was that of an advanced personal trainer. I used to work, I built a gym at the side of my house, and I had executives come and we'd work on the physical body, which helped with the mindset and stuff. And all of the strategies you could ever need for either burning excess fat or building lean body mass is all on YouTube for free. Everything is on YouTube for free these days. And yet, even with the easy access to all of that information, and in the UK right now, obesity stands at around about, going from memory, I think it's about 25, 26%, something in that region. And for those who are not obese, which means over 30% body fat, about another 40 something percent are still overweight. But the strategies are available for free. So what's gone wrong? What's happening? So if I give you the best strategy to go and find a job, are you going to go and find a job? Only you will know that. It's up to you if you use the strategy. So I'll tell you what I did. A couple of days ago, I did a Google search on job finding strategies in the UK and came up with an astonishing 483 million hits. So clearly, you don't need me for a job search strategy. But even if I had all the links to every agency, every one of these agencies that says we have jobs for police officers because of the transferable skills, will you still use the strategy and go and get that job? So despite all of this free information, people are still overwhelmed, still looking for jobs, still living in fear, and still don't know what to do because they're totally daunted. And it's not, in my opinion, this, of course, it's not just because of going for the new job, it's because of the baggage that you're carrying on your shoulders from the previous one. And that's why the model has those extra 2 levels, which we're going to get into soon. And it's also the primary reason, guys, why I've been watching now online, LinkedIn, and a number of other platforms, trying not to name them, where I'm seeing people offering these services where you can get new qualifications. Well, that's a good one, actually, because you probably will need some new qualifications, and that's one I'm in favor of big time. But the other things I'm seeing, which are questionable, is let's make a charming CV and let's make a luscious LinkedIn profile, and then you can go out job hunting. Job hunting, just that phrase in itself has very negative, unconscious connotations for how hard it's going to be. Wouldn't it be better to sit back and relax and attract the job of your dreams by knowing that you've got the confidence, the charisma, and the confidence, clarity to do that, instead of entering the job hunting market? Now, guys, I don't want you to go job hunting. And I don't even want you to just go out and get another job, if I'm honest with you. Because in my world, job, J-O-B, means just over broke. Because any employer, no matter how much they appreciate police officers, they're still only going to pay you just enough to keep you there. And you're going to work hard enough to justify them keeping on giving you that money. So we've got this trade-off scenario going on where you give all of the time that's left in your life, and they'll give you just enough for a little bit of security so you can pay all your bills at the end of the month and maybe have an annual holiday abroad every year, if you're lucky. I want more than that for you. Because I, not like the government, I'm not like the media and the ungrateful public or even your own leadership. To me, you guys are police officers. Police officers, head up. And underneath the uniform or the badge, you're the human beings who once decided to put that uniform on and go running into danger when other people are running out. That says something about who you are as an individual, as a man, as a woman, as a father, as a wife, as a daughter, fill in the blanks of all the other labels you can put on there. But it's time somebody looked you in the eye and said, can you see what I see about who you are and what you're capable of? There's greatness inside of you, not only because you're a police officer and the badge and all the other stuff that comes with that, but because you're the person who chose to go into that in the first place. So I'm sorry, I get really upset seeing people knock you guys down. And I say you guys because I'm well out of it by now. But you're still my colleagues in a way. And I can't stand seeing the suffering and hearing the pain in the voice of people I'm talking to. And especially when I know I can change that. I can give you the skills to change that and pull all these layers of grief and pain and nonsense that has been thrown all over you over the years. It's time now to stand up and shake all that crap off and look in the mirror and realize just how freaking awesome you are. Because that's what I see. Even in the laziest cop who's become so overburdened and depressed, they don't even show up for jobs anymore, or if they do, they turn up last so they don't get the paperwork. I can still see the light inside of these people, because what's happening is the symptom of all of this crap that's been going on for decades, and probably longer than that. So guys, I want to give you this stuff. I want to give you these resources to pull these layers back, to reveal who you are, who you really are on the inside. And if you can go into even writing a CV from that energy, that'll come out in the words that you choose to use. If you go for an interview, you'll blow them away. In fact, it will be you interviewing them to see if they're a worthy employer for you. That's the way around it should be, in my opinion. If I can get you to really embrace this stuff, I prefer it if you find a passion that you love to do, and then start your own business with it and monetize it so that you can continue to serve like you're used to in the police service, but serve with impact and with the autonomy for you to be able to decide which direction that goes. I'd love to see that for you guys. And if that's the way you want to go, then I'd love to be a part of that journey with you. But for right now, here we are where we are, as we say in the training world, and it is what it is. So let's see what we can do. Let's carry on with this model. Please don't get me wrong on the strategy part of it. The strategy is important, but you have to choose the correct strategy, and you won't do that while you're still feeling down and depressed or overburdened or, excuse my French, but bitterly pissed off with what's going on in the job at the moment. We have to first take that burden off. Get yourself to stand up strong and tall again. Be who you really are on the inside, and then come from that direction. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So all I'm asking is just pause, just hold on your decision about the next step, because the next step might not be the obvious one. Let me put it this way.